chasing all these dreams, I'm getting very close. Your work shouldn't feel like work if you really love it. If you set and you know your worth, then think if it's worth it. But I do count my blessings first, so you know I'm grateful every night. But watch me, baby, I'ma take it there. Tell ya I'ma stay the path. Tell ya I've been chasing all these dreams, I'm getting very close. Here we go. Your work shouldn't feel like work if you really love it. If you set and you know your worth, then think if it's worth it. But I do count my blessings first, so you know I'm grateful every night.
All right, welcome to the Mind Growth Mission podcast. This is David Schweit. I have another special guest today, somebody I admire as well because I've known him for so long. And he's a family man. He's a married man now, a year now, right, Kyle?
Exactly. Yep. Just a week away.
And that's crazy. The anniversary about to come up, man. It's so quick. Time flies. But also, guys, he's a D1 basketball coach, former walk-on in college. Comes from a soccer pedigree, but ended up coaching basketball. His team just made a Final Four run. But the big thing, family man. His family's amazing, and he's just a true good friend. And I thank you so much for that, Kyle. But welcome, Kyle Church. Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Looking forward to chopping it up with you here.
Bro, I love this. Thanks for making the time. I told you I wanted to come see the campus, but we'll save that for a later date, maybe part 2 of our episode here in the podcast. And the thing is about you, man, like naturally, people flock to you. You got along with anybody. I mentioned you in a previous episode, and we'll get to that with Dustin Mize, who you lived with as well. But me and Kyle were roommates. Kyle just has these traits, easy to get along with, somebody who's intense when he needs to be, and just a pure leader, just a great guy all around. Can't say nothing bad about you, bro. That's hard. That's hard these days, right? Especially if you live with somebody. There's usually some stuff that comes out. So so you did a good job, man, in life, and I respect you to death. But tell us about that early childhood, kind of what makes Kyle Church who he is, and what it was that got you to maybe to and through high school and college years.
Yeah, first off, thanks for the introduction. That's the best I've ever been introduced. So
you're the man, bro. Legend.
I'm thrilled for that. But no, thanks for having me on. I look forward to spending a little time with you, and I'm excited to help you get started on this new journey, man. I'm happy for you. To answer your question, and just cut me off if I'm being too long-winded, but I grew up in North Carolina. My dad, as you alluded to, is a soccer coach. He's a women's soccer coach at Duke, going on about 25 years now or so, 22 years. So I've been around athletics my whole life. I've been my mom's been she's worked her whole life and worked extremely hard, and so I think a lot of my personal success so far has been attributed to them. Stuff they instilled in me when I was young. Just seeing the way they handle their business, and our relationship is unbelievably close with my mom and dad, and as well as my sister, who's a couple years older than me. She was a college soccer player. She still lives in Wilmington. She played at UNCW. So big sports family, and big just really close knit group, and just admire them, and they put me in positions to learn and be successul at a young age, and I just tried to apply everything I learned from them, and obviously had a lot of bumps along the road as we all do, but I ended up down here in Boca Raton at Florida Atlantic 5 years ago, and couldn't be happier, and obviously just had a heck of a season.
Yeah, man, I love the respect you show for your parents there. We're lucky to have great parents, and I've got to know them a bit, and your sister a bit, and just great people, man. So, good things happen to great people, right? That's a saying, but it's true when you're actually embodying being someone great and intentional towards others, and how you care about others and the attention you give them. I mean, your parents definitely showed me all that love, man, and it was just because they trust you and love you so much, right? So it just comes off easily, and it's so great to see and be around that energy, bro. So definitely, there's a reason you guys are both coaches, and we'll get to that. And it's funny, you guys took different paths, different sports, but it all got here through connections, right? And that's one thing, man. I'm just thankful to go to a university like UNC Charlotte, meet people like you. We got some great friends to this day that we met there. But take me back, man. You're the second person I met from, or that I've interviewed from Bull City, old Durham, North
Okay.
Carolina.
Who was the
So
first?
Mike Stoughton.
Okay, yeah,
He's
Yep.
got a wild story. So
That's good.
his episode will already be released by the time people are listening and watching this. But he talks about financial freedom and his path to that and how he's helping others with that. So pretty
Nice.
interesting story. Definitely tune in if you haven't already. But not for you, man. So, in high school, you went to, was it Northern Durham or Durham Riverside or which one?
Riverside. Yep.
Okay. And I remember hearing about y'all when I was younger because I kind of kept up with high school athletics because I went to a 4A, a big school. I heard y'all were good. And I was like, this spot in Durham, Durham was kind of known for crime or Duke University, right? It's not really known for a lot of things other than those two things, I would say, right? At least in the past.
For sure.
Beautiful city, though. I love it. And I know you're proud to be from there. But what kind of things did you learn about growing up, your high school years? Because I know how close you are with your friends you met in high school.
Yep.
So what kind of lessons did they teach you? What kind of pack did you run with? And how did that help you to this day?
Yeah. So my dad was a soccer coach, like you talked about. So obviously that's a transient profession. I bounced around elementary school, middle school. My dad was in Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee, when I was in sixth and seventh grade. So we moved to Durham when I was in eighth grade. I went to Carrington Middle School, if any of the viewers are familiar. Did a year there, and then the schools kind of split into Northern Durham and Riverside. I went to Riverside and just have some unbelievable friends that I met really early on there. Several through sports, several through local neighborhoods and classes, what have you. I really enjoyed my time there. Really, really, really enjoyed it. Obviously, when you move, especially at that age, you get a chance to meet new people, and get into new things, and I enjoyed moving and kind of starting almost like starting over, and you kind of as you grow, you kind of become different people as you go, and it was to me having the opportunity to kind of move to a new area and almost like reinvent myself in a way. And
Nice.
so become, a better kind of have a fresh start. And, some people don't have that, they grow up in the same town their whole life and live there the whole life. And
I know all about that, Bo.
you're kind of always known as the same person you were. So, it was kind of nice getting a fresh start, and not there was anything bad in Tennessee or Charlotte where I'd lived previously, but it was cool moving to Durham and being a part of Duke University is obviously a huge part of that. Having family that was worked over there, especially in the athletic department, that was a really cool I guess that I had, and I loved going to games, football, basketball games, and so I went to Riverside. I had a chance maybe to go to Durham Academy, and I ended up just wanting to go to a public school and just be around the people of that I went to elementary school with, or I'm sorry, the eighth grade year, and just loved every minute of it. And we had a heck of a basketball team, which was important to me, and then I had a great group of friends, and so it was learned a lot every step of the way, and we had a lot of fun and made had some mistakes along the way, had some setbacks along the way, but just I think my friends and we help push each other into becoming the people that we are today.
Yeah, some of those setbacks you mentioned, though, this is why I do this. But If you got something, we can pause it, man.
No, no,
It's
no,
all
no,
good.
no. You're good. You're good. You're
All
good.
right, no worries. But no, setbacks is what I love talking about with my guests, man. And you don't have to go too deep, but were the friends influences to that, or did you find that you wanted to fit in maybe and were doing things that maybe weren't ideal or weren't like who you wanted to be, so to speak, at that time? Because you did mention setbacks. I don't know, you can get specific or not, but in
Yeah.
general, tell me a little bit about that.
Nothing major at all. But just we had a great group of friends, and we're all still really close, and all of them very, very successful in their professional life and personal life.
Yep.
And so, a lot more good than bad, a lot more. We had a lot of fun together. We had a lot, just really became close. And as we've gotten older, we've actually even gone closer, even though we're further apart. Maybe talk even less than we ever have, but we still seem even closer than ever. I know you were at my wedding last year. Several of those guys were there, and in the
Yep.
wedding, and great group of guys, and really, really wouldn't. They taught me a lot, and we learned from each other, and there was never, and I've been so lucky in my life. I haven't had really any major issues or problems that I've had to get through. Obviously day to day stuff, but
Do you think that's because you were kind of set on like a mission? You were always like getting yourself busy enough not to get distracted too
yes,
much. I mean, would you say that? Because I know you've been in
for sure.
athletics, so that's a great distraction for a lot of people. Obviously, having the family roots there, but then the sports on top of that, and then I don't know how important the academics were to you, but do you want to tell me how all that came full circle? How you ended up at UNC Charlotte and what that did for you as well?
Yeah, yeah, great point. There's no question that my mom and dad, first and foremost, played the biggest part in shaping who I am. I think my friends that I grew up with, especially in high school, are probably second, and then third, the academics, the basketball coaches, my teammates. Um, I think really, I was always very motivated and hardworking, and maybe not the greatest player in the world, but I worked hard at it. I tried to be the best I could. I put a lot of time into it. Like you said, it kept me extremely busy. Academically, I always did good. Not great, not probably as good as I could have done, but always did.
Most of us can
Always
say
did.
that. I know I can, so I
Sure.
feel you, brother.
Looking back on it, I probably, would have been better off studying a little bit harder when I had the chance. But you live and you learn. But um, when I was in high school, I started to realize, hey, I'm probably not going to play in the NBA. I'd love to, but
Well, tell
I
everybody,
got
tell everybody your size real quick in high school.
yes.
How
I'm
big were you?
in size. I was in high school. I was 5'11",
Uh,
probably 165 pounds.
Okay, that's
So
solid. That's athlete material in high school,
not a
but
not
it's
an
pretty.
NBA, not exactly NBA frame.
That's not at all, not at all. But let me stop you just for a second here. Your dad being a soccer coach, were you not playing soccer in high school?
I did not. So I played my eighth grade year at Carrington when I moved to Durham. Was actually really much better. I was a much better soccer player in when it compared to the other players than I was even a basketball player, even though I worked on basketball a lot more and I liked it a lot more.
Yeah.
Um, and then once I got to high school, I was like, I love basketball. This is what's most important to me. This is what I'm going to focus on. So I stopped playing soccer. I played a little bit with friends for fun.
Were
Um,
the sports seasons the same time or overlapping at
well,
all?
yeah, with AAU basketball and fall workouts, I just didn't want anything to divert my attention from basketball
All right.
once I got in high school. And
So
I love soccer. I watch it to this day, and
right.
heck, we can play it right now if I had 20 people that want to go play with me. But um, yeah, no, I really just by the time I got to high school, it was I'm willing to sacrifice other sports, other interests to
Yeah.
be as good as I possibly can.
See, that's a good point. I want to stick there for a minute, man, because you had a decision to make for yourself. Let me go back, or let me go to the thing that I'm most passionate about, that I love more,
There you go.
that I can get
Yep.
more out of as far as me wanting to progress into it and be more involved with it, right? And we'll talk about how that led to you climbing up a coaching ladder, right? And where you're at today in a sport that's different than what your dad probably encouraged and wanted you to do, right? Your sister ended up playing in college, so she was an
Yep.
all-star, a rock star, right? So, you chose a totally, completely different thing. And that's what I want people to learn, that lesson there. Go after the thing that excites you, that you're passionate about, that you can put more energy towards, because it does lead you to other things, whether you knew it or not then. Right here we are today. You're a D1 basketball coach, so it's just an amazing story in my opinion, bro. So gratitude all the way for you being on this to share your story with it. But tell me more about that UNC Charlotte. How did you end up there? And what was that experience like for you? Because it's not really, I mean, maybe at the time we went there, it was just coming off a couple good years with basketball. I think you end up becoming a walk-on. So tell us kind of about that story and that school and the ties to it. Knowing that your dad is a coach at Duke, that's one of the most prestigious and best universities
Yeah.
in the country. So obviously he's a well-connected man. But what led you to that piece of your journey? And I wouldn't know you unless you went there, right? So thankful you did. But tell me more about how that came to be.
Yeah. So, like I said, in high school, I kind of realized I wasn't going to be an NBA player. And so at that point, I was like, well, I want to be involved in athletics and I love basketball. And I was obviously around college coaching. So naturally, the coaching thing piqued my interest. But by the end of my high school career, I was a good solid high school basketball player, but I wasn't a Division One scholarship level player. I could have maybe gone to D2 school, NAI, JUCO, something like that, and played and maybe got on the court a little bit. But I knew I wanted to try to coach at the highest level possible, and I knew that the best opportunity to set myself up for later in life would be around the highest level possible. And through my father, through my dad actually used to coach at UNC Charlotte.
Okay.
So he knew Coach Lutz, and he knew a couple of the other assistants. Long story short, my senior year, they said, if you come to UNC Charlotte, we can offer you a chance to walk on the team, and I jumped on it immediately. I knew, obviously playing small college would have been an awesome opportunity, but having the chance to be around a Division One team every day, having a chance to practice with them every day, having a chance to learn under somebody like Bobby Lutz and the rest of his staff was an awesome opportunity. It was 2 hours from home. It was a city in Charlotte that I was very familiar with. They were in the Atlantic 10 at the time. They were coming off, several really successful years. I mean, it was an absolute no-brainer, and I'm very thankful for Coach Lutz that he gave me that opportunity from day one. And so, I jumped on it, and I'm really, really, really glad it worked out. And I went to Charlotte knowing that it was going to be very difficult to ever work my way into the playing rotation, but I wanted
Yep.
to try. I wanted to try, and I wanted to do, become the best player I could, but also looking forward, knowing that my long-term career goals was to get into coaching.
That's awesome, bro. You mentioned Coach Bobby Lutz and difficult to get in the rotation. Well, I thought he was a great recruiter. We had some amazing players around the time you were coming in, right? So that would make it difficult for anybody to get in the rotation, man. Not only, let alone a walk-on, right?
For sure.
But there is something I brought up with Dustin, which is on my one of my first episodes. I think it was all of us, and we played together outside. We did some outdoor basketball together. I remember the first time playing with you like it was yesterday. Because one thing about you, bro, you got so intense on the court, and this is a reserved guy I'm talking to here, guys. So to see how intense he gets on the court and to have that level of intensity, tenacity, and just the way he gets after it, I'm like, holy crap, no wonder he pursued this. Like, I can tell he loves it. He's got a competitive drive that I love being around. It makes me want to play better. And, you know, it might get under your skin a little bit, which brings the best out of you if you're a true competitor, a true athlete, right? So I remember like it was yesterday, bro. You definitely went in and were an intense player, and I respected you from that day. I was like, this is my guy right here. I love this guy. Great shooter, but just intense all the way around. So no wonder you're leading men now and helping that. And you know, we'll get to the team making the Final Four run this past season, which was amazing. But you got the great coaching staff. But I want to go back in time a little bit, back to the Bobby Lutz experience, man. I Coach Bobby Lutz, I think he was a great man, great individual. I think, you know, he could have ended up still being here in Charlotte if the circumstances played out appropriately, right? He's a guy that really helped that university grow. I think just through athletics, man. We would pack that stadium, pack the Halton Arena. Nothing like that, bro. It's a great arena, and I know you agree with me there. You were fortunate enough to have some of those times there and experiences there with that. But tell me, what do you learn from somebody that's been doing coaching so long in the sport that you love? What are some of those lessons you learned from him early on, especially coming up as a walk-on where you got to be tougher than most if you can really get in there and really seek out, like, hey, how am I going to deal with these bigger guys? How am I going to do what coach wants me to do so I can get in the rotation? So what are some of these lessons and things you learned along the way?
For sure. You mentioned my competitiveness. That's probably something that me and Coach Lutz really share. I think both of us aren't. Neither one of us look like we should have anything to do with a college basketball team.
He is a little guy, yes.
If you looked at us or stood next to us, but I think our both of our competitiveness, our drive, our will to win. To be successful has a lot to do with obviously he's well, I don't even know what it is, but it's several hundred games as a head coach. He's been, I believe he's still the Charlotte's all-time career wins leader. I mean, he's had unbelievable teams and was a great person to be around. That was something I had in me, as you alluded to. It was something that came out even more. I think he harnessed it and brought it out even more. So I wasn't ever good enough to really be in the rotation, but it wasn't for lack of effort and competitiveness. I can tell you that. The other thing that I thought was really cool with Coach Lutz was his relationships with his family and the players. I thought his work life balance, where he was an unbelievable father to his kids, a great husband to his wife Janet, and obviously the record and the success speaks for itself. Obviously, a great basketball coach. Yeah. I thought that in seeing it from my father also had to deal with those same, time constraints and how much you're away from your family and how your team basically becomes your family, but you still want to be there for your kids and your wife. And that was one thing that really stood out to me about Coach Lutz, is what a great family man he was, what a great coach he was. More specifically offensively, he was really a genius and really ahead of his time in many ways with the 3-point shooting.
Absolutely.
Just an awesome 4 years with him. Unfortunately, it's my senior year was his last season, but couldn't be more thankful for the opportunity. And I certainly wouldn't be here today had he not offered me that spot and my career at Charlotte.
That's huge, man. So tons of gratitude there. Thankful to Coach Lutz as well. I mean, he made an impression on me, and I never got to know the guy, and just seeing how intense he was. I love going to the games. I love basketball, but then to be around people like you directly and then see him from afar, I mean, it goes to show, like, when you put passion into things, just good things happen, man, and they happen for you, and it's for a reason. And that's cool you bring up the family piece and the relationships, because that's so important with anything you do. I'm realizing that more and more as I get older, right? Like, really hone in on these relationships, add some value, and really seek out how you can help others and be there for others, right? And I'm sure you did a great job with that, with you and with the others on the team and around you and whatnot, all that support, all that love. But yeah, man, so you did mention your dad and how he was there for the family as well, despite the challenges and everything else. And obviously you're going to be dealing with the same thing. So it's very important. But I want to get to your journey first about what all directions did this take you, the sport of basketball, and I'm a walk-on, I'm working my butt off to climb up this ladder in some respect to get in the rotation. How did that lead to coaching, and where all did coaching take you, and what's the journey like to lead you where you are?
Yeah, so like I said, I was trying to get on the floor at Charlotte. I wasn't quite good enough. I didn't, couldn't get there, for whatever reason. It didn't. But I think I helped the team every day in practice. I was, emotionally as in tuned and a part of the team as our leading scorer was. I obviously, as I realized in high school and continue to realize throughout college, that, man, this being a college coach would be really cool, would be a fun profession. And I was actually several people try to talk me out of it because of how crazy it is. But it was something that I was all in on. I started helping out around the offices at UNC Charlotte, in between classes, maybe staying after practice. Instead of shooting after practice, I would come in and break down film with our assistants or with our director of ops guy, Rob Perrin, who's an amazing coach in his own right. And so they kind of helped get my feet wet a little bit, kind of get the behind the scenes. You see the suit and the coaching during games. You see the whistle and the t-shirt during practice, but then there's a whole other side of this, the office and the recruiting and the film study and there's just a million different things that go on behind the scenes.
All the preparation.
The preparation, there you go, that most people don't know about. And that was one thing that I really kind of opened my eyes in college, and Coach Lutz giving me full access to everything, really helped me realize it early on. And so I was fired up. I fell in love and knew this is what I wanted to do. And right out of college, as soon as I graduated, Coach Lutz and Dr. White at Duke were instrumental in helping me get on as a GA, a graduate assistant for Ole Miss, University of Mississippi, where Andy Kennedy was the head coach, and Mike White.
Dr. White is the athletic director at Duke.
At Duke, correct. Yep.
At the time.
So there were, at my senior year of college, I'm going to graduate in the spring. I know I wanted to get into coaching. I actually, I specifically remember, I went to Coach Lutz's office. He said, I know here's a list of, I bet it was probably 8 guys that he was closest with that were head coaches around the country. He said, reach out to these guys, tell them you played for me, tell them I recommend you, call me, what have you, see if they have a graduate assistant spot, see if you can work camp, just kind of get your foot in the door. And so I took the list. I went one by one. I believe I emailed them all, just pulled up the school website, found their email. I'm sure it didn't even go to them, probably went to some sort of admin or somebody, secretary or something in the office. But Andy Kennedy at Ole Miss was one of them. And I had another connection through my dad obviously worked at Duke under Dr. White, who was athletic director, whose son was an assistant at Ole Miss, Mike White, the current head coach at Georgia. And so those two connections, I was able to get in at Ole Miss's basketball camp. I worked that, and they were looking for a couple of GAs, and me and Chris Brickley, who I'm sure some of your listeners will be familiar with, who's a famous NBA trainer now, actually ended up getting the GA spot. So we worked together my first year out of college at the University of Mississippi.
Amazing, bro. And I don't know if I told you this. I met Mike White randomly as well. I mean, I met him through you, like after a game or something, but I met him randomly when he was up here in Charlotte recruiting a kid. He was working out at a gym I was working at part-time, and I met him at the gym. He came in the gym just to work out.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. He has like a, I don't know if it's still going on, but he had like a 7 or 8 year workout streak where he worked out where they weren't always great sweats, but he at least got a sweat in every day.
Yeah.
For many years.
I'm not surprised, bro. He's probably intense just like yourself, but amazing guy. And, getting involved with these coaches, I mean, I just think they're amazing people, man. And I'm fortunate enough to meet a lot of them through you, but you really got to be somebody tough and really just internalize like who you are to be able to coach men and be a leader of men, right? Like you really got to know a lot about yourself and who you are and what you're about. And I know you've been fortunate enough to be around a lot of amazing ones, your dad included. And there's lessons with each of them. I bet you're just thinking about it as we're chatting right now, right?
Yeah,
there's
sure.
So many things that evolve and help you evolve, right, to who you are to this day. And you just see their work ethic, their regimen, the things that they focus on, the things that they're intentional about, and what that the habits and routines look like. And you were able to pick up a few of those, right? And you're like, oh, it's a no-brainer this guy's successful probably, right? Because you see what they do behind the scenes and all the work they put in. So you mentioned some of that with Coach Lutz, like the extra hours and the stuff with the assistants and the attention to detail and all that. So as you're climbing up this coaching ladder, you were at Ole Miss, and then it led you to some other universities as well that I want you to tell me about that. So I guess for each one, what are some things you picked up for each from each coaching staff of the coaching tree that you've been a part of so far?
Yeah, for sure. Great question. As I got to Ole Miss, that was my first year out of college. It was my first time in a new Division I program. I'd only been around UNC Charlotte before, and seeing it really being a part of it, the going from a player to a coach. That's everyone that does that. It's just an interesting transition because there's like, and I got to see a little bit of it at Charlotte because I was helping out in the offices, but there's so much more behind the scenes that even the players don't even realize, and that how much the coaches are doing to help all the guys be successful. And it's just in really at Ole Miss, when you're at a big school, SEC school, it's it's such a big production, and there's so many people, and they're trying, and everybody's got a role, and they're all trying to help. At the end of the day, trying to help these 13 guys be better people, better men, better students, better basketball players. Obviously, it'd be a winning team at the end of the day. And it was in Coach Kennedy, another guy. I mean, he loved watching film, was obsessive offensively, very similar to Coach Lutz, where he's like he scores the ball. He finds a way to get his best players the ball. He still does to this day. At UAB, basketball-wise, he finds ways to put his best players in positions to be successful. That was one thing that always stood out to me is his ability to do that. And he has this a different approach about it, but it's been wildly successful in the SEC in Conference USA, it's actually he's coaching at UAB now, which is one of our rivals. So we've played some big time games against him, and it's funny how it all kind of comes full circle.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And then his recruiting and evaluation of players. I think AK is as good as anybody at that. Finding super talented players, and getting a lot out of them. He's been great at that for going on 25 years now. So that was one thing that really stood out to me. Those two things, I guess, the evaluation and being able to get the best, put his best players in successful situations. From there, Mike White was an assistant at Ole Miss. He got the head coaching job at Louisiana Tech. I was halfway through my master's at Ole Miss, and Coach White asked me to come with him to Louisiana Tech and finish up my master's and take on a bigger role. Like I said, Ole Miss, SEC, it's just such a production. There's so many people. I thought at Louisiana Tech, obviously, it doesn't have maybe the name cachet, but I thought it was an opportunity for me to grow as a coach, to just be more involved, more hands-on, do more coaching, more video, more just contribute more. And I just thought that would help my coaching career and kind of speed things up as far as my development goes personally.
For sure.
And I'm really glad I did it. Obviously, I hated leaving Ole Miss and Coach Kennedy, but it was just a great opportunity for me individually, and I had a great time there. Finished out my master's degree. Like I said, had the chance to just be more hands-on and feel more like a coach, not just a manager, if you will. It's
Right.
probably the best way to put it. And I was there 3 out of Coach White's 4 years at Louisiana Tech, and I worked for him for his first 3 years at the University of Florida. And the biggest thing I thought with Coach White was he used the phrase kind of re-recruit your team, and it was just basically pouring into them every single day, not taking anything for granted as far as where their mental space was, as far as being a great teammate, really believing in the system, buying into the coaches, buying into everything that was going on. You always hear about recruiting, and you always think recruiting, high school guys, transfers, somebody on a different team, but he was almost like re-recruiting your own team and making them feel loved and wanted and needed and better.
So
every single day.
Instead of being more like forward thinking and looking too much into the future, it's like, let's embrace the now, right? Let's put the energy towards them now. I love that. I love that approach. And obviously it's equaled success.
Of course. Yes. He's had a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it's, you have to, as a college basketball coach, you always have to have one eye on next year's roster and following year's roster. But him embracing the roster he has each year and figuring out the best way for them to play and the best defense to run and, who to play through. And, like you said, I think he did a great job of embracing the now, and every single day and really getting unbelievable buy-in from his teams at Louisiana Tech, his teams at Florida, and now at Georgia.
Love that. So far, UNC Charlotte as a player, a walk-on, then get the opportunity to see more behind the scenes from the coaching standpoint. You then get over to Ole Miss. You're getting your master's degree. So not only are you putting in that effort as a manager / coach, you got the master's degree. So you're really buckling down there and learning a lot in multiple levels, right? And then you end up at Louisiana Tech, which I know you guys made a nice little run there too, and then go to Florida. So back in the SEC, back in the big time programs, right? And
that's right.
Time to step it up even further. And y'all made a nice little run. I was thankful enough to get that ticket from you to the Sweet 16 in Madison Square Garden. I will never forget that moment. Chioza, that little floater three or whatever, just hit that to win the game against Wisconsin, I believe it was, to take them to the Elite Eight, if I'm not mistaken. just an amazing run, amazing game, and my first time ever at Madison Square Garden. I'll remember that forever, and I thank you for that moment, bro. That was amazing. So I appreciate that so much. And it's just crazy as I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about like the connections in my life, right? And I'm same for you. And you never know, man. You just treat people with respect and put good energy towards them and love them and care for them. And good things happen with that once you're developing that relationship. So the same type of energy you poured into your players. So let's go to more of the nearer future. So Florida, great state to be in, ton of schools, ton of opportunity. Florida University of Florida is a huge university. So what happened once you were ending your shift at Florida, and what led you to Florida Atlantic University?
For sure. So I worked with Coach May, and actually, let me back up really quick, just because I don't want to.
It's that coaching tree entanglement. You probably
it's a long winding story. I mentioned I was with Mike White 3 out of his 4 years at Louisiana Tech. That was year 1 as a GA. Year 2, I had already got my master's, and there was no position for me on staff. So I went to Chipola Junior College, which is one of the top junior colleges in the country for basketball in the Panhandle, right outside of Tallahassee. And I was only there a year. We had a really good team. I went back to Louisiana Tech in a director of ops role, which was my first full-time paid benefits, the whole deal. So that was my 4th year removed from college till I actually started making money.
Oh, really?
Yeah. As a GA at Ole Miss, as a GA at Louisiana Tech, as an assistant JUCO coach, I was I was darn near paying to work those jobs. And it was a sacrifice that I knew I had to make in order to become a coach. And I was very lucky with my parents were able to help me out and help me get through and work some odd jobs to help supplement the income. But, going back to Louisiana Tech for Mike White's 3rd and 4th year in the ops spot, I thought I think I was making, I want to say I made $35,000 that first year, and I thought I was a millionaire.
Ball.
Exactly, yeah. That was big time. And so that was a great run, and we won 3 conference championships, and we went on to Florida, where we were there 3 years. And that whole time at Louisiana Tech in Florida, Dusty Bay was an assistant coach, and I was in the director of basketball operations, which for people that don't know is basically one step below an assistant. Is probably the best way to describe it. And after our success of Florida, we had the Elite 8 run. We had another NCAA tournament team that lost in the second round the next year, and Dusty got the FAU job. And right after we lost to Texas Tech, who made a run that year, he asked me to come down to Boca Raton as one of his assistants.
So is this from Florida? You're at Florida.
From Florida.
And Florida was
this is our 3rd year.
Okay.
Just finished our 3rd year at Florida. We just lost to Texas. We had a good team. We were top 5 in the country at one point. We had a little dip. We ended up being, I want to say we were like a 6th seed in the NCAA tournament. Won our first round game. We lost to the 3 seed Texas Tech in Dallas, which is one of the loudest games I've ever been in my life. You never want to play a good Texas Tech team in Dallas, in case you're wondering. Coach May got the FAU job probably within a week after the season, and he asked me to come as an assistant coach, and it was an unbelievable opportunity. I think I was 29 years old. This is 5 years ago.
And how old was Coach Dusty May at the time?
Gosh, I would say, I should know this.
Early
I would
30s?
say 40 or 41.
Oh, okay.
Early 40s.
He's just
either
a very
40 or 41.
looking guy. I thought
That's right. I think he's. I don't want to put him on blast, but I think he's 45, 46
Yeah,
now.
no worries. He's a great looking man, dude. Coaches have a lot of stress, man. So you've been you've been fortunate enough to be around the guys that look the best, I think, in all of D1 basketball. The most youthful coaches ever Kyle Church has been with. All y'all kind of look alike too, and y'all look youthful.
I'm just trying to keep up.
Yeah, exactly. Do what they're doing, right? But but Coach Dusty May, I had the pleasure to meet him as well. A little more. Like a little more of you introducing us type of deal with him, and he's just an amazing guy. I mean, right away understood like why he's in the position he's in, how he looks you in your eyes and is just eloquent in his speech and just gives you the right energy and positivity, smiles a lot. Just a guy you can easily embrace, right? So it was pretty easy for you to say, yeah, let's go, coach. I'm going to be the assistant. I'm going to help you win some games and let's go. So Florida Atlantic, though, I mean, you might have had to think twice about like maybe the opportunity, because were they good at the time? What was their program like?
Yeah, no. So, just the chance to be a Division I assistant coach. You know, there's 1,000 of them in the country. There's basically 350 D1s, and each of them have 3 assistants. And so there's only 1,000 of them. Anybody in college coaching can tell you how difficult it is to be a Division I assistant coach. There's a million people that are vying for 1,000 positions. And so I was truly honored to have the opportunity. Obviously, leaving a place like the University of Florida and leaving Coach White was difficult, but at the same time, I knew it was an opportunity I couldn't say no to. We were inheriting a program that was struggling. Call it what it is. They'd had just relatively young as far as school goes, and then they're relatively young as far as being a Division I basketball team. Probably only been D1 for about 20 years.
So very short history. And,
yes,
and that plays pretty deep and pretty hard when you're talking about collegiate sports, man, because a lot of these big blue bloods, they're 100, 200 years old in their programs in some cases, right?
Exactly. Yep. The University of Florida and the Dukes and the North Carolinas that we grew up around, have been around for forever and ever. And we were just kind of getting started, and the program hadn't experienced a ton of success. But I was familiar with South Florida, as I had been down here a couple times when I lived in Gainesville. I was familiar with the school. We were very familiar with the league, being in the same league we're at, Conference USA, that we were at in Louisiana Tech. And Coach May and myself both knew that we could be successful there. To what degree, I don't know. But we knew that we could find a way to be successful and turn FAU into a really good program.
Now, you're saying that because you love South Florida and you know it's beautiful and everything's cool about being there. But why are you saying we can have some success here, bro? You just
it's when if you've been to Boca Raton, you could see why a college kid might be attracted to it.
Very attractive place, yeah.
A very attractive place. 1.8 miles to the beach. You got unbelievable weather year round. I could go on and on, but it's an awesome place to live. It's an awesome place for our guys to go to college. I knew that we could get really, really good basketball players that wanted to come down here, and I knew that Coach May was going to be a rock star coach, and was an awesome mentor, and I thought all that together, I knew we could find success. Now, I did not.
I want to talk more about.
Have a Final Four pegged in our first 5 years, but
right. We'll get to that. That's a big moment, a key piece to a lot of this, and how it becomes full circle as well, and how you put the right energy towards things, and it leads to that great success, and you achieve it quicker than you thought or imagined. I mean, I truly believe in that, man. You put that energy and focus and intention into something, good things happen, and they come a bit quicker than what you would think. But I do want to get into that. So Dusty May, Coach Dusty May, amazing guy. What did you know about him that told you, like, hey, this is the right pairing for me at this point in time? This guy really does X, Y, and Z so well. why do I believe in him? Why did I end up with him? What's your story with that?
Yeah, you can keep going on A B C D E. There you could go through the whole
But from
alphabet.
an assistant to a head, though, that's a
Yep,
transition in of
for
itself
sure.
for him. So you're taking a risk with that. He's taking a risk with you. There's so many
Yep.
risks right here. So I want to pinpoint some of that.
Yeah, no, good question. So we worked together for 3 years at Louisiana Tech. We worked together for 3 years at Florida. And in this profession, when you're around somebody, you spend an inordinate amount of time around the people you work
Yeah,
with in college
for sure.
basketball with other coaches, and you find out a lot about them. And I have had the unbelievable pleasure of the coaches I've worked with have been just absolutely first class, off the charts,
Hmm.
and Coach May is the embodies all of them, and he is first and foremost the best person you could ever imagine. As far as he shows up every day, every morning with one thing on his mind: how can he help our players? And that is just so cool. And his unselfishness and work ethic and love for our guys in basketball is it would blow you away. And you don't have to spend 6 years with him to see it.
Yeah.
And I knew he was going to be everyone. If you've met the guy, you knew he was going to be a successful coach. It was just a matter of when and where. And so
Wow.
when this opportunity arose, it was just it was a no brainer. And like I said, and I loved Florida and I loved everything about it up there. But this this chance was just one I couldn't say no to, and I believe in Coach May and
Yeah.
his work ethic, his vision, his. I mean, I could go on for the next hour and a half, but
And like I said, I had the pleasure of meeting him through you at your wedding last year. But I
yes,
knew 6 seconds in. You mentioned 6 years or less. I
yeah,
knew 6 seconds in because this dude shows up on like crutches and like a hurt leg at my boy's wedding here. So I knew right away. And then when I met him, within the first couple seconds, I'm like, yep, I see it right away. He just goes
yeah,
off that energy, bro. It was a no brainer.
yeah,
And that's amazing. It's just all the stars aligned, bro. but
yeah,
but what did that take for you, bro? So much energy, so much effort, dedication, sacrifice. You mentioned all the words, all the things that matter, all the things that I think it takes to get there and equal success. You mentioned all of these things, and I think we are lucky to have great parents like we do. I don't think it would have been
sure.
as easy of a road, even though it was super difficult without having the parents there to guide some light and be there to support and everything else too. But there's so many people you can point at and thank along your way. And I see that as you're
Yes.
telling this story more and more. And I knew that would be the case, but man, this is just awesome to kind of go back in time. I'm sure you're feeling some emotion with some of this and you're like, holy crap, I'm so lucky.
Yes.
But you did so many things for yourself, man, like to be in the position you're in. Like what is it if somebody wanted to be a coach? What does it take? What gets you there? What sacrifices do you truly have to make? And that could be personal life, that could be
Yeah.
the mental game, that could be just time, effort, etc. Like what all does that look like real quick before we jump into the Final Four run?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm ready to talk about the Final
Oh
Four
no,
run
I
here.
see you.
No, 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 that's another great question. And I think a lot of these, for your, probably most of your listeners aren't college basketball coaches, but this answer I think is going to be very applicable to any profession. Any profession that's difficult and there's competitiveness and there's a lot of people working to get the same thing and there's winners and losers in every profession and obviously ours is literal winners and losers with a scoreboard, but I'm sure you can draw similarities in all sorts of different things in life and different professions. But I just think I first off have been unbelievably lucky, like you said. That was the word that came into my mind as we're kind of recapping my story here. The people surrounded myself with, the people I've had the luxury of meeting, the people that my parents have helped introduce me to, yeah, on and on and on and on. And so, but you also have to take advantage of that luck too. I think one
100%.
thing, a lot of this will have a lot of good fortune in their life and be put in a lot of great situations. Some more than others, of course, but you also have to take advantage of it. And I feel like I've been able to take advantage of it. I feel like I've I try to approach everything with the mindset of how can I help my head coach? How can I help my boss? How can I help my other coaches? And so I think that's maybe helped me stand out, and maybe why Coach May wanted to take me as assistant, why Coach White wanted to take me as a GA, why, Coach White wanted to take me from a 25-year-old ops guy at Louisiana Tech to an ops guy at Florida, probably the youngest high major ops guy in the country. Is I think I really always try to put them and our players before myself. I try to, get to the office early, leave late, always be available, always answer my phone, always, half the battle, is just showing up and just being there and being present.
So
And
good. Yep.
I think one thing I really pride myself on is being the same person every single day and having a great attitude. I think you know me well enough. I don't complain about hardly anything. I try not to, at least. I try to always be happy. Try to always make every situation as positive as possible.
Yes, sir.
Lord knows in college basketball you need some positivity around you.
Bro,
There's a lot
yeah,
of
roller
there's a
coaster for
lot
sure.
That's a roller coaster. There's a lot of things that go wrong. There's a lot of time you spend with each other.
There's a lot of
So
uncontrollables that
there's a
happen.
lot of uncontrollables, and so I think that's probably helped me more as much as anything. Um, Trying to be a guy that finds solutions instead of it's there's a million people that point out what's wrong, but finding solutions to the problem is where is what's really valuable. And so I try to assess the situation. How can I help? How do I fit in? What are we doing well as a staff? What are we doing not so well as a staff? What do we need to do better at? What are if this guy does this, well maybe I'll do X and he does Y. Maybe he does A well, I'll do B well. Just trying to fit in, be a great teammate. Um, I know I certainly it's easy to take credit when stuff goes right,
Hmm.
but just trying to, we talk about as a staff, we're going to give all of our players the credit for wins, and we're going to take responsibility for the losses. And I've learned about 90% of everything I just said from Coach May or Coach White or one of these, or my parents or,
Yeah.
Coach Lutz or Coach Kennedy. And so it's been a special, special ride, and hopefully I've helped out along the way.
Dude, that's an amazing answer. It's putting others first. That's what I'm hearing. You put others first, and that helps you get the success in your life. When you're thinking like that, and then solution-based thinking and process within that, oh man, it comes back around for you tenfold, and you're pure,
Yes.
you're pure proof of that, man. So that's amazing, bro. Quite an answer. Love it. So let's get to that ride, bro. You said 5 years, Florida Atlantic, struggling program, newer program. Hey, we in
Yep.
that Final Four, baby. Final
Yes,
Four in
sir.
2023. So
Yes,
this
sir.
just happened, man. You're fresh off of it, but you got to press the rewind a little bit. You talked
Yep.
recruiting, you talked about players, you talked about pieces, you talked about energy you got to put into it. Give me that full circle of how do we get here?
Man, so it's actually so funny because what you just said about being selfless and
Mm.
it coming back around to you tenfold is how I've described our team to several people that have asked, what was the secret, what went right, and that was it. That was it. Our guys are obviously really talented. They're unbelievably competitive, but more so than anything, and they work unbelievably hard. But more so than anything is their selflessness, and their genuine love for their teammates, their genuine happiness when things go well for an individual. And it seems simple to be happy for your teammate when things go well, but it's not nearly as simple as you think when it comes to individual accolades in a team sport. And our guys, they put our team first. They put all their individual agendas aside, which we all have them, and our staff did as well, for that matter. Put all of our individuals aside, and for the betterment of the team, and it paid off tenfold. It really did. I think that was so cool to see everything they sacrificed. They got 10 times more than what they could have even expected by doing it together. And it's really incredibly true. It's an incredible story about teamwork and competitiveness and love. And I couldn't say enough good things about this team and the whole ride they took us on. And it wasn't even just like we got hot, in March Madness. Like, we had an unbelievable season.
Yeah, tell everybody the record for the team. What did y'all finish with your record? It's amazing.
We were 35-4.
How many wins did you have 5 years ago?
Our first year we were 16-15, and that was one of the best seasons in FAU history. The all-time wins record coming into this year was 21. It was 21 wins. They had won one conference championship in the Sun Belt, and then this year we won 25 games. We led the NCAA, 365, 368, something like that teams. We had the most wins in NCAA basketball this year. We won Conference USA, had a 21-2 record. We won the regular season and the tournament, and then went to put a big stamp on it by making that run in March Madness, and it was just unbelievable.
Do you remember what I said when y'all made the tournament?
Remind me.
Oh man, I was hoping you'd remember it, but I was like, y'all did not get the seed you deserved.
Oh yes. I heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I thought that.
Yeah. I probably just texted it to you, but
we were top 25 most of the year. We had a 20-game win streak at one point. It was just a dream season.
Yeah.
And it couldn't have been done with better people, with people I enjoyed being around more on a day to day, and it was a culmination really of 5 years of hard work. It wasn't even not only just this team, but it was 5 years of building a culture and setting standards, and hard work from these guys, hard work from the team's past to help lay the foundation. There was a lot that went into it, as you could imagine, and to see our guys rewarded with the experience and the ride they took us on was one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. The coolest thing I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. And you've been on some great teams. I mean, let's not underrate it at all. I mean, this was hype, bro, for you to go through this coaching tree and, go around all these different programs that had great success in multiple sports and setting records and legacy holders and everything else. And then you end up here in South Florida, Boca Raton. I'm here in Florida Atlantic University. Let's see what we can make happen. Believe in your coach, believe in your players, believe in the people around you. 5 years into it, already setting records, going to the Final Four. I mean, wow, man, the ride, it truly takes you somewhere, right? And a lot to be thankful for and a lot to give credit to in that journey, and it's just amazing, bro. But, what I saw in your team, I mean, it was a lot of three-point shots, but I also saw how well they played together. Like you said, I could tell that they had that camaraderie, that team mentality that, hey, I got your back, bro. Everybody knew their role well. Tell me more about that, maybe behind the scenes, the science of like how you get this team to come up that way and the type of players you recruited, because I know you mentioned that off air with me before. About recruiting the type of people you see playing there and building the type of program you want. Talk more on that.
For sure. No, in college basketball, there's a bunch a bunch of really good, really, really talented players, and
Everywhere.
everyone's obviously familiar with the 5 stars, but I think what most people don't realize is the 4 stars are really darn good. The 3 stars are really darn. Even the 0 stars that people don't know about there's some really, really, really good ones.
100%.
And there's just so much evenly distributed talent around the whole country, and it's amazing how many really, really good basketball teams there are. And our team's obviously one of them, but what set us apart was the unselfishness, the ball movement. I mean, it's as simple as when you drive and you get 2 people on you, pick it up and pass. And that seems elementary, and it seems elementary to be really happy for your teammate, but it's really hard to do at a high level. And our guys totally bought into it 100%. They're obviously super talented, and we fell into a cool thing with playing with 4 guards, and not to get too basketball technical on you, but when 4 guards we knew would be really good offensively. We can space the floor. We have 4 guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot. We actually have 2 really talented centers that we kind of rotated around those 4 guards, and we knew it would work well offensively. But defensively, we're going to be small. They're going to be a lot bigger, stronger than in the post. Rebounding is extremely difficult when you're undersized, and so
where do you make up for that lack?
Their toughness, their competitiveness, their fight, their will to do whatever it takes to win, their love for each other, and they just fought their butts off every single game. We were the best rebounding team in our league, and we played a tiny, literally what would be considered a tiny line. We were smaller, or we had a 7-1 center. It was really good and really physical, but then we were small at all other 4 positions.
Vlad, you're talking about Vlad, right?
Vlad. Yep, big Vlad.
Yeah, shout out to Vlad, man. Great job, bro.
Big Vlad and Gian that played they played the 5 as well, and we were smaller at all 4 other positions, but they refused to let that be an excuse. And we knew it'd be good offensively, but we said if we can make it work defensively and on the glass, then we can be really good. And they said, okay, we'll figure it out. And they fought like crazy for every rebound all year. We used our speed and our quickness to fight off size and physicality, and obviously had unbelievable success with it. And once again, I just keep going back to their competitiveness. They just refused to lose. They hate losing. They go play pickup. It's darn near fight every time they play. And even in the summers and practice, it is all about winning and whatever it takes to win. And they come together and they're so happy for each other and are so close off the floor. You can see it. You can see the bond, a true bond that those guys have with each other. And we couldn't be happier.
Nah, that's amazing. And, a big piece of it, is that talent, that coaching, all that. But let's go even deeper, man. You said you were going to recruit the type of players you wanted. So what does that look like? Sorry,
I got sidetracked.
Oh, bro, I mean, we could talk ball all day, but I want to get more into the mindset and mentality and all that.
So the ones that are, I mentioned that all these guys are so close. The ones that are most successful are the ones that you can pair up best with the head coach. And as far as their mentality goes and what's most important to them. And one thing I've learned over the last 5 years are the guys that are most successful at FAU are the ones that are similar to Dusty when it comes to the work ethic, when it comes to the competitiveness, when it comes to the unselfishness. I think those are the ones that are successful in this program. Wow. Guys that love basketball. And we've had those are the ones that have set themselves apart. Those are the ones that have become really successful. Everybody on our roster and the guys we've brought in here have all been extremely talented. The guys that go to other college programs are extremely talented. The ones that set themselves apart are the ones whose values usually line up with the head coach. And not that Dusty's values are different than most head coaches, but he's to an extreme. He's a 10 out of 10 when it comes to passion for the game and unselfishness and heart. He's a 10 out of 10. And the guys that are 10 out of 10s in those categories, even if maybe they're not as tall or they don't handle the ball as well or they have some sort of deficiency, if they're the 10 out of 10 in those categories, then it's going to go well. It's going to mesh well with our head coach. And those are the guys that usually end up being really successful.
Yeah, it's quite the praise for these players, man, and it's amazing. And
they deserve every bit of it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. But I mean that's just an amazing journey, amazing ride, and continued success. I know it's coming y'all's way, and I'm just excited to be here for it. So, any Florida Atlantic swag you got, send my way for sure. I'll rep you guys.
Happy to.
But
Get your Final Four shirt,
bro, for real. Need that. But shout out to Florida Atlantic University. Great run. Just a great program now, and putting the pieces together, and great in other sports. When I was there in Boca Raton visiting you, I met some people that were involved with like the athletics out there, and just quality, man. I'm noticing quality, and I don't know too much about the university and the academics and the behind the scenes stuff, but what I do know of everything that I've seen thus far has been quality, man. And with coaches like you and Dusty May, man, and the other coaches I met at your wedding, just amazing people. And, I'm along on that ride with you guys, man. I can't wait to see what this leads to for each of you. And it's just a blessing to be a part of, man. I know you feel the same way. And these guys, I mean, they work their butts off. And tell me, in coaching, you see all different players' backgrounds. You see a lot of kids that don't have the family support that maybe we had, or had the people in their corner that may have looked out for them the right way. They probably didn't have all that. Are there any like stories that stood out for you to be like, holy crap, this individual had such a rough road, and I'm just thankful to be, a part of his life and be able to touch him and him touch me, or even her, or whatever it might be, anybody in athletics or anybody you coach, whatever. But I'm sure there's some stories like that you get to hear as a coach. So does anything stand out off the top of your head?
Yeah, no, for sure. There's, a lot of the guys we coach haven't been, born into situations that I were, that I was really lucky to be a part of. And a lot of them have as well,
Right.
Our one thing that's actually, I probably don't give this enough credit, is the parents of our players have been off the charts. Because it's tough, when, especially as a freshman, it's really hard to get on the floor, and there's a lot of ups and downs, and there's a lot of hard times, and there's a lot of people with a lot of time invested, and when it doesn't go well, a lot of you turn towards your parents, you turn towards your coaches, and a lot of those parents really entrusted us with, even when it doesn't go well, that we had their son on the right track, and that we were going to help him get there. And it's paid off for almost all of them. But specifically, I don't want to, name names or anything,
Right.
but certainly, several guys that have come from tough areas, tough backgrounds, and having a chance to go to school in Boca Raton is eye opening for me, and I can't even imagine kind of the culture shock some guys actually must go through. But
Sure.
it's, I think, one of our big roles as coaches is to be, and especially for in college when the guys are 18 to 23, is to be father figures, to be mentors, to be role models, and obviously their parents did an awesome job to get them where they are. To be a Division I scholarship player is a heck of an accomplishment. I'm sure there's millions of kids that are striving for one of these few spots, and they obviously got them there. Yep, exactly. And so we feel like it's our job to help mentor them, and help. We want to see them be really successful as people, be much, much better people, be much, much better basketball players, be much, much better men, when they're on their way out the door than they were when they got here.
100%.
And, the beauty of what we have going here is, like they have the unbelievable parental support, but they also have great support within their own group,
Right.
and they've all matured and they've all became really close, where they help each other out, and it's just I think it all starts at the top.
Yeah.
There's no question, Coach May laying an unbelievable foundation for how we're going to work, setting an unbelievable example for our players, our staff, everybody in the program. It's just, I think we've helped a lot of people along the way. I know Dusty certainly has. I know his former players would certainly say that. And I think that's a goal going forward, is to keep doing it and hopefully keep winning at a high level along the way.
Absolutely, bro. Awesome. And, I think you have such a responsibility as a coach. I mean, you're
Yes,
spending so
sure.
much time with these guys, right? And vice versa. So not only can they learn stuff from y'all, but you're learning stuff from them too.
Yeah,
And
as much, if not more.
exactly. So it's just amazing to peek into a coach's mind, to see how they operate, to see what motivates them, to see what drives them. Because I think you have to be super selfless. I know you mentioned that earlier, but be in that role and truly make an impact, it's a lot of investment of your time, your energy, those ups and downs we talk about. That's not easy, man. I mean, if you saw a lot of coaches before and after they start their coaching journey, what do you notice, man? A lot of those guys are stressed out, losing hair, graying up quick, the Obama presidency effect, where the graying, it's like, it is a stressful job. You have so many challenges, the politics that are involved, everything else. I mean, there's so many things that could go against you if you let it. But what I really hear from you is just focusing on the controllables, investing in those around you, and just using that positivity to your advantage. And, if we can focus on what we can control and get better every day, and then help each other out when they need it, it equals success, right? So I guess if you have one thing that you think of when you think of success and mindset, is there any saying or anything that comes to mind when you're thinking of mindset, mentality, success, or all that as one together? Could you give me something that stands in your head right now that you can shed light on?
I'm not a huge quote person,
Yeah.
but the thing that stands out to me as it relates to me and my experience is just the consistency. Um, the
Huge.
the biggest thing for me has just been being the same person, being the same happy, fun person to be around, but also productive person every single day. And I think that's led to my success personally, and the same thing with Coach May. He's every single morning he's going to be here. He's going to be working hard. He's going to have an awesome attitude. He's going to have a ton of energy for our team, our players, their families, and every single day he's going to be that person, and he's going to do everything he can to help. And I think that's what I've tried to do, and I think that's been the biggest separator, for our program. And it's not a show, it's not a, it's a lot of substance behind it, and it's a consistency, even when things weren't going great early in our tenure here. When we were 500 or barely over 500, we just show up every day, just keep plugging, and then boom. This whole thing came together. We had an unbelievable year, and it took a long, long time. It was a lot more than just one good season. Just so much went into that, and the consistency piece. That's the one that really stands out to me.
Ooh, that's such a great response, bro. I love that. I didn't know what I was looking for there, and that's it. That touches it right there. consistency, and that's huge. And that's a takeaway for anybody, coach, not a coach, manager, leader of some sort, just a person working your everyday day job, your 9 to 5, a banker, whoever. Consistency and the things that you can do for yourself, right? And
I got one quick story on that. I think you'll like this.
let me hear it.
I got extremely lucky through a friend of a friend, actually through a friend, excuse me. I got to play golf with Brooks Koepka.
Oh,
right?
wow. Okay.
So major champion,
Full swing.
whatever. He might have been number one in the world at the time. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago. So I got to play golf with Brooks Koepka, and so I'm thinking I'm going to see like all these amazing golf shots I've never seen in my life, right? You think you're playing the number one golfer. You play with, if you do anything with the number one person in the world at something, you just expect to be blown away, right?
Yeah, he's amazing, by the way. He's upper echelon of golf, one of the highest ranked players consistently for a while, since we're throwing that word in there. So go ahead.
Yeah. So we played, and he didn't hit one shot. And I'm not a huge golfer, but I play golf a little bit.
Right.
He didn't hit one shot that I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he just did that. He didn't hit one shot I had never seen before. But what made the good to great like he is was every shot was unbelievably consistently good. And if you think about it, that's what great is just being consistently good over and over again.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind. I was like, I've seen people hit a shot just like this, or I've seen people hit a sand shot just like this, or make a putt this far, hit a drive this far. I've seen that. But he was able to do it every single time over and over again. And it kind of hammered home that I'm not just going to be great one day at work and then just be average the next day. I just be consistently good over and over, day after day, stack days, whatever saying you like, pound the rock, and that's what greatness is.
Of course, you wanted to throw a golf reference in there. Hence why I'm wearing my golf shirt. My Quell Hollow, bro.
That might have inspired me.
Yeah, that inspired you. Okay, but but no. So going back in time here, in college, when we had our downtime, I would catch Kyle playing Tiger Woods golf on whatever game system it was, but you would catch him playing that. So golf and soccer, so FIFA, Tiger Woods, definitely were the games for Kyle Church back in the day. So not a surprise he threw in a golf reference before we got out of here. But hey, man, I don't know if you'd like people to reach out to you or do something for the program or anything like that. Any kind of shout outs you want to give or point the direction towards people to somewhere for you guys that maybe they can help support in any way or just show some love in any way?
Yeah, my email is churchk, CHURCHK, at fau.edu. Feel free to reach out to me individually, and if you want to talk about my story or anything else, or the program. If you saw something you liked out there on the court and want to ask more about it, give me a shout. I check my email daily, hourly. Give me a shout. I'd love to touch base with anybody.
I love that, man. And keep being you, man. And shout out to Coach Dusty May. Thanks for giving my buddy a shot here. And glad it worked out. And you guys the whole coaching staff is awesome. So shout out. Share this episode, guys. There's so much in this, and just it's such great content no matter what you do in life and no matter what you're about. You can take a lot of these lessons today, apply them to everyday life, and really, truly seek that happiness, that greatness, that the meaningful relationships, everything we talked about here today, man, the consistency, everything applies to life for anybody and everybody. So that's awesome, man. And I truly love you, man. I respect you. Thank you for your time. It took us a while to get this thing going, but we made it happen. So I appreciate you, buddy. Can't wait to see you in person soon. Looking forward to that moment. Tell wife hello. What's up over there? But the whole family, tell them hello for me. And man, I love this today. I got a lot out of it personally. I knew it'd be great, man. You took it to the next level, bro. I appreciate you. But guys, you can find this on the Mind Growth Mission, at the Mind Growth Mission on YouTube is where I play the videos. You're going to find the audio on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and then on my website, davidschweit.com. But Kyle Church, it's been a pleasure. Coach Church, I see great things in the near and distant future for you, man. And keep it up, brother.
Thanks for having me, man. Much appreciated.
Absolutely, man.
I've been chasing all these dreams, I'm getting very close. Your work shouldn't feel like work if you really love it. If you set and you know your worth, then think if it's worth it. But I do count my blessings first, so you know I'm grateful every night. But watch me, baby, I'ma take it there. Tell ya I'ma stay the path. Tell ya I've been chasing all these dreams, I'm getting